Phillips 66 Big 12 tournament tips off next Tuesday from T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. Limited tickets are still available, so make sure you get yours today. King and I talked in the first segment about Iowa State. You know those fans, and the rabid fan bases are going to try to swallow up all those tickets as soon as they can. So get yours if you want to go. All right, here are the standings in the conference with one game to go. You see Texas Tech moving up Wednesday night with that big win over Colorado. Now, if everything were to stay chalk, let's take a look at how the Big 12 men's tournament bracket would look right now. Yes, we're talking about brackets. I'm excited. King's excited. When you look at this bracket, King, this is a pretty nice breakdown of what is to come. What jumps out at you?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few matchups that are very, very intriguing. And I kind of like that 12 and 13 matchup with Cincy and UCF. I mean, these are two teams, and one team in Cincinnati who, if they make a decent run in this tournament, they have a chance to potentially work their way back up to the NCAA tournament. So I think that Cincinnati, how they play, how focused they come, I think that'll be huge. That 9-16 Kansas State, Colorado, same thing for Kansas State. I think if you can make a run in this tournament, you win that first one, and now you have to play TCU in the second round. I mean, I like Kansas State's chances. So I think that those first two, the top two, are very intriguing because there's two teams. I mean, they're outside looking in, but they can work their way into the conversation with a few big wins.
Getting a bye in the Big 12 tournament, overrated or underrated?
I think it's underrated because I think that, winning 4 or 5 games, playing 4 or 5 games in 4 or 5 days is extremely hard and taxing on your body. And you have to go rest up. And if you make the NCAA tournament, you have to go prepare for next week. So I think that it's very underrated from a standpoint of if you need to fight your way in, this is a good way to get wins. So teams like Cincinnati, right? You go beat UCF. If you go beat Iowa State, now you have BYU. That's a chance to rack up 2 quad one wins to fight for a chance to get to the big dance because it means more to you, So I think that you have teams who are trying to fight their way in. You have teams who've already guaranteed a seeding. So therefore, it's a battle of two worlds.
Can we take that bracket one more time, guys? I want to take one more look. I want to get King's opinion here on who has the easiest path right now to go to the conference championship. Look at that bracket, King. What do you think? What's the softest way right now?
I mean, I was going to go Cincinnati, but that second round matchup against Iowa State is a little tough. But the only reason why I would take Cincinnati is because out of Houston, Tech, and Arizona, I would go BYU and that in the third round to be the easiest out of those 4, even though it's not an easy route. I would say that TCU, Houston, TCU would be the easiest out of those 4 games in the second day. However, that Houston matchup in the third round is going to be an issue and going to be a problem for almost anybody. So truth be told, West Virginia, if you can beat Arizona State, Kansas, you already beat Kansas once. It's going to be tough, though, because it's going to be, we talk about Hilton South. It's going to be Allen South, too. Or maybe that's not, I don't know. I'm directionally challenged. Whatever.
Me neither.
All right. But also, then you play against Texas Tech. So out of those paths, I would have to say that West Virginia probably has the easiest path.
Okay, I'm going to give you my little dark horse here. It's not a dark horse. It's a big dark horse. I think Kansas State can really shake things up. I think Kansas State could end up beating TCU. You get by the first round, you end up against TCU. I look at that as almost 50-50, and then you have a shot at Houston. And if you can pull off that upset against a Houston team that really, like we've talked about, has kind of solidified their standing in the NCAA tournament, now all of a sudden we're talking about Jerome Tang again. I'm just saying, don't rule out the Wildcats. Also, Baylor is another team, I think, that's starting to get kind of hot right now, learning to play with that smaller lineup, and they still have something to prove.
Let's not forget that when you talk about the 3 biggest fan bases who show up to the Big 12 tournament, one is probably 1A, 1B, Kansas, Iowa State. Number 2 is Kansas State. So let's not forget, people, that Kansas State is not a far drive from Kansas City. So you're right. When they do play Houston, that's a road game for Houston. So let's not get it twisted, Pete. I do agree with you. I think that Kansas State could have a chance to beat Houston because it's a road game for Houston. I think that right there, that small little detail gives them a chance to win.
See that? I got the baller, King McClure, on my side. The guy, by the way, we were talking about defense earlier. The guy had 108 steals in his career, 33 in his senior year. Probably more steals than some of the dudes we talked about.